Hi there, I'm Claire Bestland, and I'm a guitar slinger, singer-songwriter, and composer who a few years ago ran to the hills of Wakefield, Quebec, and never left. And I'm really glad I stayed, because today I get to be your host of Outaouais Live, the weekly arts magazine series devoted to showcasing the unique arts and culture of the Outaouais region of West Quebec. Each episode, we showcase artists of all practices, as well as venues, galleries, and cultural and performance spaces from all over the rural region of the Outaouais. Now, ever since I came here, I've been wondering what it is about this area that attracts so many creative people of like mind. From artisans to craftspeople to musicians, visual artists, painters, writers. Maybe there's something in the water. Now, if I keep talking like this, it might turn out you do have all day. But for now, why don't you kick back, relax, and come along for a ride with us to experience the artistic side of life right here on Outaouais Live. Today on episode 8 of Outaouais Live, we have a performance by Allysann Foehring. Allysann is a young singer-songwriter at the beginning of her career with strikingly relaxed and natural vocals, and it's going to be really exciting to see where she goes in her career. She'll be performing right here in the performance space at Little Red Wagon Winery in Shawville, Quebec. And then we'll be meeting the owners of Little Red Wagon Winery, Jennifer Dale and Scott Judd. We're going to dish a little bit on the winemaking process that they use, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their performance space as well. And then we're going to tootle on over to Quyon, and we'll be meeting Katharine and Eric Fletcher. Katharine Fletcher is a visual artist who's going to show us some of her works and the processes behind them. And her husband, Eric Fletcher, is a photographer specializing in composite photographs showing 360-degree panoramas.
Hello everyone, my name is Allysann Foehring, and I am a singer-songwriter and musician from Chelsea, Quebec, and I'm really happy to be here today.
Great.
Well, ever since I was young, I've always been singing. Like even my mom would tell me I'd wake her up singing in the morning when I was a baby. But I'd sing in the car, and I started taking piano lessons when I was around 10, and then Trish Barclay moved next door, so started taking fiddle lessons, and then stopped the piano. And I really enjoyed that. I loved all that music, so I wanted to also pick up the guitar so I could sing with something on my own, and been doing that ever since. I just released my first single called Darlin' on all streaming platforms, and I did that with James Stevens in Chelsea, who helped me put it all together and made it all happen. I actually wrote it during Ian Tamlin's songwriting course, so it was the week where he gave us phrase prompts, and so I think I'd take you anywhere you like or something like that. So that's where that song came about, and that's like one of the first songs I actually liked of mine. So James and I have been slowly putting this recording together. You can find that on all streaming platforms, so Spotify, Apple Music, all the rest. Yeah. This is my first song, the fun one. Here we go. When you called me late last night to give up the fight, but look where that got you. And baby, I thought that you knew that leaving me wasn't that easy, and that our love was true. And baby, I'm not anyone's fool. You're talking to me sweet, but your words only deceive. Won't let my heart get stuck on you. But you're pulling me in, and you push me away. You got me spinning round, I lost my way. And you're pulling me in, and you push me away. at my door and begging me for more, pleading, can I stay the night? Crazy to think you were the type who would never lie or make me cry or run away and hide. How could I be so blind? A boy like you is hard to find, but if you don't treat me right, you know I might leave you behind. You know that I won't waste my time, but you're pulling me in and you push me away. You got me spinning round, I lost my way. Then you're pulling me in and you push me away. Oh baby, I thought you were here to stay. And ooh, you're driving me crazy. Ooh, I don't wanna maybe get aside. I thought you were staying, but you're pulling me in and you push me away. You got me spinning round, I lost my way. And you're pulling me in and you push me away. Oh baby, I thought you were here to stay. Oh baby, I thought you were here to stay. Right, this next one is a lullaby in 3, but please don't fall asleep. Tell me a story, sing me to sleep, warm up some milk, help me count sheep. I toss and I turn, blankets on, blankets off, quiet gets on my nerves, my pillow feels too soft. Hush, hush, sing me to sleep, your sweet melody, my remedy. Hush, hush, sing me to sleep, your lullaby in 3. My eyes will not shut. Did I drink too much tea? And my mind won't shut up. Baby, it's the sweets. And I think of the morning, how I'll slowly wake. Now, until then, that's one hell of a wait. Hush, hush, sing me to sleep, your sweet melody, my remedy. Hush, hush, sing me to sleep, your lullaby in 3. My eyes now feel heavy, I'm breathing from my belly. Fast asleep, soon I'll be. Good night and have sweet dreams. Hush, hush, sing me to sleep, your sweet melody, my remedy. Hush, hush, sing me to sleep, your lullaby
I'm Jennifer Dale, owner of Little Red Wagon Winery.
I'm Scott Judd, co-owner of Little Red Wagon Winery.
Yeah, we started this 14 years ago. I wanted to do something different in the region. There are a few vineyards in the area, but nothing kind of in close to Shawville. So we had kind of fallow land, and we decided to give it a try. So we bought 500 plants, and they took off. And
they didn't die. That was the strong point.
Yeah. So then we just kept buying more plants and planting more plants, and here we are, 14 years later, with a lot of vines.
5,600 vines, and 13 more coming.
1,300 more, yeah. We cut everything back to basically nothing, just 2 buds, so it looks just like a dead stick. And then throughout the season, we reprune about 3 times. We put them up in wires, or else they just kind of run everywhere and take over the whole property. And we harvest usually around Thanksgiving, but it's pretty labor intensive, pretty continual labor from April right through until the end of October, or till snow flies, depending on how long it takes. We have an advisor that comes from Quebec City area once a month and checks over, make sure we're keeping in line and on track, and identifying any diseases or bugs or things we might have overlooked the way we were pruning. And initially we were making rose bushes and not grapevines at all, so we fixed that a long time ago.
You prune grapevines with your head and not your heart, eh?
Yeah,
definitely.
You have to be super aggressive. And
really, yeah.
People will come and ask us, like, they'll have a plant or 2 at home, and what am I doing wrong? And you're being too nice. You're letting it grow.
Way too nice, yeah.
Chop it.
Because you start with 2 inches of growth, like 2 buds, and 3 is too many. 2 buds on each every 4 inches, and that's it. So you really have to, it has to think it's dying, and then it thinks it's dying, then it has to reproduce, so then it's going to produce fruit. So if it thinks it's going to have a good year, well, I don't have to make much fruit, I'm good.
If anything, our soil's a little rich for grapes, which is why the labor is a little more intense. But the gentle slope on the land, the air movement, whatnot, a lot of vineyards this spring lost a lot of grapes to frost. We had a tiny touch of frost in a few corners, but just because the air keeps moving, and it makes it perfect climate for
Healthy
it.
vines.
Yep.
Even on a day there's no wind, you'll see this convection air moving back to the river, so the dust or whatever will be just slowly moving back to the water, to the river, so it's pretty neat.
Oh, well, that's our equipment over in the corner, which you can't see right now. But we basically bring the grapes in bin at a time, and we have a crusher destemmer that sits outside on our crush pad, and it takes the stems out one end, drops the berries into a vat, which we then, if it's white wine, it goes directly into a press, and then we press off and have juice and let it cold stabilize for about 24 hours, settle, rack it off, pitch yeast, and start white wine. If it's red wine, they ferment on the skins. So we do the crusher destemmer, and then we ferment on skins for a couple weeks. Monitor temperatures, do a lot of adjustments there.
Try to get it to behave.
Yeah, it gets really hot or really cold. It's very temperamental. That's kind of the most stressful time of the year. But yeah, once we get a handle on that, they kind of hang around in these big tanks for several months. In fact, these guys are still full. They probably shouldn't be, but we're pretty laid back people. So this one has white, and the one behind us have a red wine, which we should be bottling within the next month. Yeah.
No oak barrels, but we have oak chips that we use in staves. So all our wines are introduced to oak, and then we have this trouble with this oak. It comes in like a tea bag. So we get oak tea bags, and when you put it in the wine, the wood wants to float. So we have some very special stones that we throw into in with the oak to sink it to the bottom. And the stones may or may not be part of the secret recipe. We're not sure. We needed a space to sell our wine and present our wine, not just down here, but in where we make the wine in the engine room. But so we needed a spot that was a nice spot to introduce our wines. And so Jennifer was great, and she designed this beautiful venue upstairs with local pine posts, and it has lent itself to some fantastic acts in the past. So we're looking forward to getting at that again.
My name is Katharine Fletcher, and I live here at Spiritwood, where I've been living for 32 years with my husband Eric, 2 spirit horses, and my kitty. A lot of other artists have inspired me, of course. I've got a mentor whose name is Holly Dean, who lives in Merrickville. Holly is somebody who is extremely playful. And I love that about the art too, is this playfulness and not taking ourselves too seriously and just expressing, getting things down. But I love, as you could see looking around my studio, I'm not just a collage person. I'm not just a mixed media. I'm not just this, that, the other thing. I really love to play with different media and see what I like and see what I want to incorporate. So she's been really pivotal to me in the last few years. My mother was just so involved in nature, and so I get all of my love of nature and respect from the wild from her. My work is threefold. It's enchantment is one theme, spirit horses. I'm a horsewoman, I love horses. And then the third is endangered landscapes, endangered animals. So this one is fanciful. It's enchanted landscape because we don't have 3 moons when we're on Earth, but we can imagine losing ourselves in this space, I think, and that's what I love to do. I love to bring in, I call myself a fanciful dreamer, and I like to look at nature and imagine. So my pieces can be peopled with fairies and dragons and unicorns, or they can be peopled with the creatures who are, well, one would say, really endangered, like the grizzly bear or the tiger. Gatineau Park features so prominently in my life, and so when we were dating, courting, and going up to Gatineau Park by bicycle from Ottawa or cross-country skiing, I suddenly realized that people didn't know very much about the park, like what was George's Trail or why was a picnic ground named Penguin, and all of these crazy things that are part and parcel of our Gatineau Park. And so I just started doing research. I just loved this area, and people, there's so many layers of experience here, from the lumberjacks, the whole Gatineau privilege, and the just the agriculture, the mining, and then exploration of the park became just natural, and I just started writing my book, and that really launched me into travel writing too, because all of a sudden I realized that writing a guidebook to the park, not only its human and natural history, but also the some of my favorite trails that we discovered together. What I find really compelling about the Pontiac region of the Outaouais is that it is open spaces with fantastically spectacular nature, and open spaces where people can fashion a life that suits them. There are not so many rules and regulations, and as I said, we have the physical geographical space amid nature to grow our creativity, to grow our plants. And one of the things that I think is absolutely marvelous now is the echo of the Back to the Land movement. With the pandemic, we're seeing a lot of people move out, but in this time, there have been so many young people moving out, and that to me is an infusion of the lifeblood of that makes the Outaouais hum. It's wonderful to see this. Nature speaks to me. It's in my art, it's in my soul, it's in my writing, and it's a beautiful place to live with every single season, except maybe bug season.
I'm Eric Fletcher. I'm Katharine Fletcher's husband, and I share the studio, her studio, with some of my art here. I take different types of photographs. they're actually photographs. People get confused by that. And I used my phone, the camera in my phone, to take the pictures. And basically a picture like this is made up of 45 different shots. And I carefully have to rotate around getting the 45 so I get the horizon above it and up and down to completely have a single image that I can be immersed in. So I'm looking out at the world. And then I can take that image and morph it using some magic on the computer to essentially wrap it around a sphere in these cases. So that image gets rendered as something that looks like it's wrapped around a sphere. I can also do other things with it. So this same image here, taken on the back of our property in the field in the back, I can wrap it around this shape in the same sort of way. It's just using techniques in photo tools. And so I've got an outside view looking at a sphere, or roughly a sphere. But I can also stick my phone into this thing, and we can look at it and see it. And as you move around, it's as if I'm standing inside the photo looking out at it. So they're fun to do, and they use a technology that lots of people have and don't know about. But there's a lot of tricks to it. It isn't as simple as the sellers would have you think. But basically, you stand really carefully, and you want to be rotating around the lens. And on a big DSLR, the lens is quite large, but on a little camera, it's the size of the head of a pin. So trying to rotate accurately around that is tricky. And if you have it out here, like most people try to do, to get a panorama, there's way too many artifacts, and you'd end up with horizon lines that have jagged edges on them. There's always something new and interesting to do.
This last one is my song Darlin', which I just released, so please check it out. Thank you. Darling, I take you anywhere. It's time to hit the road. You've got so much on your shoulders. I should take the load. Just sit back and let it all go. Hey, don't need to worry. Just take your time tonight. We'll leave first thing in the morning. Oh, I'd take you anywhere that you'd like. Let's pack our things in that old suitcase and leave this town without a trace. I will take the wheel and you'll take the man, and we'll drive till the bumps have passed. Roll down your window, let your feet hang out, because honey, we're laughing now. Hey, don't need to worry. Just take your time tonight. We'll leave first thing in the morning. you'd like. And darling, I'd take you anywhere, anywhere you like. I know you'd like that drive. You've got so much on your shoulders. Let me take the load. And darling, I'll take you anywhere,